Cornwall could hardly be further from the high-rise flats of South London, but recently a piece of Peckham passed over the Plymouth Bridge, bringing with them a close connection to the Lizard Peninsula. I'm on my way to see John Challis, better known as the national treasure Boycie from the iconic series Only Fools and Horses. He's in Cornwall to meet his Cornish fans and sign copies of his latest book. John, how lovely to see you, and thank you for coming to Waterstones in Truro.
Well, it's absolutely great to be here.
This is far from the first time John has been here. He's been a regular visitor for many years.
1969, something like that. I came down here with a girlfriend, and her parents had a caravan in Truro Bay, just on the bluff up above Truro Bay, and it was out of season, and at the time I thought it was one of the most romantic places I've ever been to. I actually tried surfing.
Any luck?
Not really, no. I did stand up briefly, I remember, but I was quite popular on the shores because all the beach boys used to come and watch me surf, and really I was quite flattered. I thought, oh, well, I'm doing all right then. But actually they came because I did the most spectacular wipeouts anyone had ever seen in the history of Cornish surfing. And later on, I used to come down here out of season because I sort of liked the remoteness of it, you know, and the very particular atmosphere. And I'd see a bit of Padstow and Loo and places like that, and I'd come down here and we'd stay, you know, for a weekend or so.
Hi, Boycie.
Yeah, very well, thank you. And you?
Very happy, very happy.
Very happy to see you too.
Stay in the boat, Boycie?
Yeah, sure.
Boycie and Beyond is John's second book and traces his life from 1985 to present day. And he's dedicated the book to the men and women of the Lizard Lifeboat crew.
The transition's gone well, is it?
Yeah, it's all right.
It was my birthday, and Carol, who's very good at surprising me.
Your wife?
My wife, yeah. Yes. She took me down because we'd stayed near the Lizard Lifeboat and discovered it, I mean, some years previously. And it's just the most extraordinary place, and they do such a wonderful job there. And I was riveted by it, and she surprised me by taking me down to the Lizard Lifeboat. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know. I thought we were just going to look at it, but the whole crew were out there. The coxswain then, Phil Burgess, was waiting for me and said, "Oh, John, I'm glad you've turned up. We're a bit short-handed and we need to go out on an exercise. Wonder if you'd help us out." And I went, what? Ever since I was a child, I'd wanted to go out on a lifeboat, and she'd organised the whole thing, and I went out on the Lizard Lifeboat.
Did you go down the slip?
Yeah, down the slip.
I've never done that.
They made me stand at the back, knowing full well that the water was going to come up and straight up my back, and I got to drive it. That's the wrong phrase, isn't it? But
is skipper it or?
Skipper, yes, probably. Phil was quite nearby with his hand on the.
Yeah, he was.
Not that. No. He said, "Oh, well, next time, John. Next time you come out, we'll do a rescue." I thought, I know they're going to try and rescue as well, but. No, I've been down there several times since, and so I got quite a connection with them.
Unbeknown to John, I've arranged for the Lizard Lifeboat crew to come and meet him for a surprise reunion.
A proper hello.
Hello, how are you doing? Yeah, nice to see you.
You remember Andrew Coxon?
Yes, yeah. Yes, I do remember. How can I forget?
How could you forget?
How are you doing? Right? Yeah, very well, thanks.
Kevin, one of our new crew members.
Kevin. Hello, Kevin. Hey, congratulations.
Jeff, our head launcher.
Oh, I remember you. Yeah.
And Adam was on the boat with you. How you doing?
Yeah. No, so it was one of the great thrills of my life, that I have to say. I was just... Was a picture of it. You've seen a picture of it?
I still remember the scream.
I'm a patron of the Lizard Lifeboat, and I was at the launch of their new boat. They raised an awful lot of money, and I helped quite a bit with that, I suppose.
He hasn't only dedicated the book to the station, he became the ambassador for our Lizard Tamar Lifeboat Appeal. Helped us to raise, I think, about £380,000 towards the new lifeboat. He promoted it nationally wherever he went. He carried buckets, he raised money, and he has since, as I say, dedicated the book to the RNLI and the men and women specifically of our station.
Yeah.
No, we were delighted to come here, and it's the least we could, least we could consider doing.
It's always nice for people to come and visit Cornwall. We're right on the end, but we don't like to be left out.
We brought the kids down here to meet him today and looking forward to it.
We don't often get many authors and famous people coming this far down, especially to do book signings. I think it's brilliant.
Can you do an impression of Boycie?
Yeah, I think I can.
Go on, do one.
It's not very good though.
Well, we'll see.
Marley. Oh no, Marley.
From Shropshire. That's about the best I can do. So.
Can you do a Marley?
No, I can't. No, I haven't got my tight trousers on.
And the book, Boycie and Beyond, that he's dedicated to the crew from Cornwall, contains many amusing stories and anecdotes. Well worth a read.
I just started thinking about, I live with this character every day of my life. And people always say to me, I'm sorry, I don't know your real name, but I only know you as Boycie. You know, and you must.
Did that make you cross or?
No, not really.
I
started off thinking, I've created something that people like, and it means something to people. So when did you start watching the shows, George?
I always watch only from season. I love it.
Because you weren't even born when we started, were you?
I've got all the...
You got it all, eh? Yeah. Who's your favourite character then, you think? Me? Yeah, I thought so.
It's iconic. It's one of the major TV characters of
it seems so.
A national treasure. Boycie is a national treasure.
Very kind of you to say so. When it's the sort of thing, when you start off, you always dream about being a household name and being recognised in the street, you know. So, and then it happens, and you can't suddenly say, "Oh no, I don't want that anymore." And everybody in that series, it's been so successful. Roger Lloyd Pack, who plays Trigger, everybody will say that it'll be the most famous thing they'll ever do. It doesn't matter what they do, however much Shakespeare they do in the National Theatre or Royal Shakespeare Company, however many Hollywood films, it's not as good as Boycie, Del Boy, Trigger, whatever it is. Who shall I put this to?
As an actor myself, I was particularly touched by John's words to the future generations of actors.
I get asked all the time, you know, how do I become an actor? I'd like to be an actor, or parents will say, my son would like to be an actor, or my daughter, how does she go about it, you know? And it's a very different world to when I started, because you could just sort of fall into it, and if you had anything about you get passed around the reps, and you gain experience like that, and eventually you get an equity card and you become part of the profession, you know. It's very much more difficult these days. I suppose the best way is to go to drama school or something, but I just thought it'd be nice to just sort of say something about two people who might be thinking about it. If I have any advice to pass on to aspiring young actors, it would be go for it, but watch out and be ready for the rough bits. If you're not careful, they can hurt. But when it's good, it's very, very good.
Well, John, I know you've been coming down to Cornwall for many, many years. What is it that keeps you coming back?
I think there's a sort of otherness about Cornwall. You know, it's the old tradition that the River Tamar was the Great Barrier, and this was a separate country in some terms. I mean, I don't want to make any opinion about that at all, but there is a sense of other place about it, which I've always liked and been fascinated by. And it's something about the remoteness, the wildness, the wonderful coastline and so on. And I think the people are very particular
and
sort of people,
proud.
Very proud people of their piece of England.
And being out and about with John in Cornwall, it's obvious he's noticed and treasured wherever he goes.
I meet an awful lot of people that I've never met before. Every day of my life, practically, someone will come up and say something.
So you'll recognise wherever you go.
Yes. I'm not one of these people who says, "No, don't bother me. I'm not him off the telly." I mean, because those are the people who turn the telly on to put you where you are. You know, so I think you sort of owe them something. That's my view.
But with the population of Portscatho now so engrossed in his new book, John has to rely on the charms of Boycie and Beyond to get a drink.
Excuse me, could I have a brandy, please? Young woman, can I have a cognac, please? Thank you.
Who that was?
No, probably a second homeowner.
Oh, thought I'd seen him somewhere before.
Oh.
What do you think Boycie would think of Cornwall? Because I know you now live in the country, not in Cornwall, but what would Boycie think?
Well, I think Boycie would probably think, it's a bit empty. There's not much going on at all, and the people were sort of, nobody's going to buy my cars, are they? They just mostly drive horse and carts, don't they, these days? Yes. These people, probably a bit behind the times down here, sort of quite folksy, I suppose quite fun, really. But I don't think he'd bother with it, really, to be honest. He'd much rather go to Dubai or the Seychelles. He needs a conurbation. He needs somewhere to put his car showroom. And I mean, where are the people? Eh?
Yes.
Out in the country, living in mud huts mostly, probably.
A bit like Varian, really.
Yes.
Grand houses.
A bit like where I live, in Shropshire.